location where the 3 individuals were working, but it did restrict the communication. The refuge bay where they relocated to is 700 meters from that area where we saw the localized fall of ground. So it's quite a distance. So after losing direct communication, we deployed specialized drones to assess the geotechnical conditions underground. There is natural flow of air through, which is really a positive sign, where the workers are located. We also determined that the route to the refuge station behind the fall of ground is stable because we could actually send the drones over it. We could establish that that ground is stable. We've commenced efforts to safely remove the debris, utilizing line of sight loading, and that means that there is no operator on the loader, so no further persons exposed from that perspective. I want to make sure that we understand our first priority is really to establish communication with these individuals. And to do so, we need to deploy specialized communication systems, and the team has been working on that. We are also actively assessing all methods and technologies available to conduct this response effort successfully. Our emergency response teams from our Brucejack mine, but also from our neighbors here, New Afton mine, have arrived at site, and it's good to see how we are supported throughout the industry. The team is also supported by Newmont geotechnical specialists, both from Denver and Vancouver, and we are working together to identify the plan that we can safest access the route to reach the individuals. Our absolute priority is the safety and well-being of these 3 individuals, but also the safety of the emergency response teams supporting this effort. We have been in contact with the families of the workers across our workforce and with provincial officials who have been supporting these efforts. And thank you so much for that. I would like to thank the government, Tahltan Nation, and all our industry partners who have offered their support and services through this difficult time, and multiple have reached out to us. We will continue to provide updates as new information becomes available, both in person, through the media, and directly on our Newmont Canada Facebook page. Our next update will be tomorrow morning. I know how difficult it is for especially the family, the friends, and the colleagues of those underground, and we are treating this with utmost urgency and humanity it deserves. But we need to do this safely. We will not rest until we bring them home safely. Thank you so much. I think we want to open up for questions.
Thank you, Bernard. Okay, we see some questions popping up there. I'll ask you first to just please state your name and the outlet that you're from, and we'll allow for 1 question, and we'll move on to the next. Thank you. Ashley?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ashley Joanno. I'm a reporter with the Canadian Press. I'm wondering if you could give us a sense of the timeline for how long you expect the rescue efforts to take. Are we talking days, weeks? What is the expected timeline for how long this could take?
And I understand that question fully, and the urgency that everyone wants these individuals to come out. But I do want to make sure that you understand, for us to actually do this safely, thinking about the employees of Hi-Tech, but also about our rescue teams of utmost priority. So the planning and the execution of this is important, and that is the work that we are doing. I don't want to sort of give a timeline here, because it's actually more important that we work to the planning that we've put in place. We've done risk assessments, and that work continues. I do want to say, on top of that, these individuals are in a refuge bay, and that means that they have enough ventilation, they have enough air, they've got food, and they are safe at the location where they are. So more important that we actually execute this rescue process in a safe way.
Divya?
Hi, this is Divya from Reuters. Can you tell us for the supplies which there is there at the rescue spot, that will last for how long?
Yeah, I think important to understand, we've got the refuge bay or refuge chamber that I'm talking about is equipped with both, means to generate oxygen, but it's also have fresh water, and it has got food in there. And that in this design is for 16 people, lasting you 48 hours. we've got 3 people in that refuge bay specifically. So there's ample food for them to continue. Also, by our Newmont standard, we've actually got several of these in the mine, and they basically space about 750 meters from each other. So we've got about 11 of these bays. So there's ample food for extended period of time. There's ample water for extended period of time. So from a timing perspective, we are confident.
Thank you very much, Divya. Jordan?
Jordan?
Hi, can you hear me? Nathan
Yes,
Jordan
we
from
can hear you now.
CFNR Network in Paris. Okay, good. I'm just wondering, is there any indication how long the 3 workers had been underground prior to the first ground fall incident?
Yeah, they went underground that morning. As I indicated, the first incident happened just after 7. They would have gone underground just around 6 o'clock. So just about an hour and a bit that they were underground when the first incident happened.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Thomas?
Hi, thank you. Have you identified why the fall happened, and do you have confidence that no more would happen in the area where the workers are still refuging?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. Firstly, the area where the people are refuging is 700 meters away. We had the ability to get one of those drones flying over the debris, and it was clear that the rest of the area is safe. So this is really localized, and I think that is important to understand. In terms of why did we see the fall of ground, I think we will be able to get the investigations done as soon as we have rescued these individuals, and that will be comprehensive. Getting specialists in and making sure that we are transparent about that. So I don't want to speculate about that now. Our first priority was making sure that, and still is, to get these 3 individuals and the emergency response teams do this work safely. But I can assure you, as Newmont, we do investigations on these. We get experts and third parties in, and we are then sharing in a transparent way outside and with industry, so that we can all learn from this, and hopefully that doesn't happen again.
And just, sorry, it's in the name, but the refuge bay is protected from any subsequent falls that might happen where that is?
I think that's a good question. A refuge bay, and maybe just to qualify for the non-miners on the call, it's actually a designed steel structure that is designed to obviously withhold certain forces, protect people from the environment, but it also then have the sort of inside capability of oxygen generation, fresh water, food, etc. So that is protective. But again, this fall of ground is really localized. It is in an area of 20 to 30 meters that it happened, 20 to 30 meters that it happened. The refuge bay is 700 meters away. We flew a drone over, and we could see in front and beyond that there is no extension of this fall of ground. Thank you, Jordan.
Sorry, are we on to Jordan now?
No, Olivia.
Thank you. Yeah, Olivia,
Hi, this is Olivia Albuquerque with the New York Times. Can you tell us what, if any, contact you've had so far with the miners, and what information you have about their condition? Are any of them injured? Do you have any of that information at this point?
Thank you for that, Olivia. Yes, so our contact was with them. Remember, I spoke about the first fall of ground just after 7. They then followed protocol and they moved to this refuge bay. We had contact with them. We knew that they went in as per the protocol and they were all good. So they were not exposed to that fall of ground. Subsequent, we had the bigger fall of ground, and that disconnected the communication lines. So we haven't had any contact with them since then, and therefore the importance and priority for us to get communication through. So that is still our utmost priority. Thank you.
Thanks.
I think Tom Barker, I think you next up. Jordan, I think your hand is still up, but Tom Barker.
Yeah, hi, Tom Barker, Black Press Media in Northwest BC. I know that you don't know yet how long it will take to actually reach these individuals, but do you have an idea of when you might be able to resume communication with them?
Yeah, and again, that is the work we are doing as we speak, and the teams are, focused on trying that communication up and running. So, we obviously want that to happen as soon as possible. And I can't commit to you that it is happening immediately, but that is the work ahead of us. That is the work that we are focusing now. So there's two pieces of work that is happening. It is firstly the debris that we are loading, cleaning up that tunnel. The second part is, from a technological perspective, is actually resetting and getting that communication up. So don't want to sort of give you a timeline, but that is absolutely the priority work that is happening now. Thank you. I think the next one is Divya. Or Divya?
Hi. Sorry, I just have a question again. Wanted to check, I mean, do you anticipate any worsening weather condition that could complicate the rescue operation? I mean, I'm in Toronto, so how's the weather looking out there?
Yeah, firstly, the weather is rainy, but it's got nothing to do with the underground operation. This fall of ground happened in one of our underground projects here, so not exposed to the environmental conditions that we see outside. So that has no impact. I think just Tom and Jordan, you haven't taken your hands down, so I assume Zhu, Younger, you are next.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I'm with the Tyee. Is there any risk that the sort of that the extraction process of pulling the debris out of the tunnel could sort of exacerbate further instability? And if so, I guess what are the ways to sort of assess that as you go?
Yeah, and as indicated earlier, we've got our geotechnical specialist from both our corporate office in Denver, our Vancouver offices here in British Columbia, and also from the provincial government. The chief inspector of mine had one of his geotech specialists here. So as we continue to load and load that debris, we continue to assess the conditions. And throughout the day, as well as yesterday, the conditions have been stable. So certainly not exacerbating, that condition. And again, I will continue to emphasize that this is a localized area of 20 to 30 meters in a much bigger area underground, and so it's very localized from a geological perspective. Thank you, Paul.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, Paul Bryan from the Epoch Times. I'm wondering how the families of the affected individuals are holding up, and apologies if you already answered this, but to the best of your determination, how did these fall of ground incidents occur?
Yeah, so firstly, just on the families, it is certainly our priority, as well as with our partners, High Tech. And they have been in consistent contact with the families to make sure that they keep being kept up to date what is happening. So, I mean, it goes without saying that the families are shocked and they are really sort of dependent on the work that we are doing. But we are continuing to keep communication with them. In terms of your second question, I don't want to speculate. I think our first priority is the rescue operation, get the 3 individuals out from underground. Then we will do an extensive investigation why this fall of ground in this localized area happened. Thank you.
Are there any final questions? Seeing no further hands up, maybe we've got time for one more here. Ashley, okay, we can take Ashley's question here.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you can tell me anything about the 3 people who are trapped. Ages, genders, experience levels, and if there's any concern medically about their ability to last underground for an extended period of time in terms of maybe pre-existing medical conditions, things like that.
Thank you, Ashley. And I think you will understand that I respect the families and the individuals, and do not want to talk about personal, sort of the personal situation, conditions, age, names, etc. for where we are now. So I do not want to talk about that. But what I can tell you is that Hightech has been working with Newmont for many years, and even with the previous owners. So, but I do not want to sort of talk about the individuals specifically.
Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate your time late on this evening. Like I said, we are moving down to provide some footage for CBC, which will be made available through a pool. So thank you again to CBC. We will intend to give you regular updates, so please stay tuned to the Newmont website and through other means that we are communicating with you. So thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, then can I ask quickly, how will that pool footage be distributed?
We will provide you additional information on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we good? Yeah, we'll do that. We good to go? Yeah, we're great. Thanks. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for the opportunity to brief you on the rescue effort that we have currently at Red Cross. Just by introduction, my name is Bernard Wessels. I'm the Group Head Health, Safety and Security for Newmont Corporation. I think keeping in mind that we've got 3 people underground, their families, and that is most important, I think, for all of us. You know, that is what we are here about today, is to make sure that we get them out safely. So first, thank you for being here, and I would like to provide you some information on the ongoing emergency response here at Red Cross mine in British Columbia. And we'll begin just to start with where did this happen and when did it happen. So on 22nd of July, 2 fall of ground incidents occurred just over 200 meters into our decline that leads to our underground project area. The area is separated from the producing mine. The fall of ground debris blocked the underground area, and the debris blockage is roughly between 20 and 30 meters long and 7 to 8 meters high. So firstly, at 7:47 a.m. that day, the initial fall of ground occurred. At this time, 3 contractor employees from Hightech were drilling and working 500 meters beyond the incident's site zone. They immediately made contact, and these individuals followed exactly the protocol that we have at Newmont. So when we have an incident like that, we relocate to a safe space that's called a refuge chamber or refuge bay, and that's self-contained. These chambers are all around the site, you know, and they are equipped with food, water, and also the ability to generate ventilation and fresh air, oxygen. It is designed for an extended stay by design. So all appropriate emergency response protocols were immediately activated, and we suspended production at Red Cross operation or mine to allow the full focus of our rescue efforts and to make sure that we've got management focus as well. The production, as we speak, continues to be suspended, and only essential work is happening at the mine. So following our initial contact with the workers, there was a continuation of the fall of ground in the same location. So I think it's critical that we make sure that people understand that it's very localized. It is only in that area where we saw the fall of ground. That happened at around 10:30 a.m. It hasn't extended. We had the ability to fly a drone over that, so we know that the fall of ground is localized, and both, you know, in front of that and behind that we've got good conditions. No subsequent movement have occurred since then. These people are in a refuge bay that is about 700 meters away from where the incident happened, so a significant distance from there. So after the second event, we lost communication, and really the cables were damaged that delivered the communication to the Refuge Bay. We then deployed specialized drones to access the geotechnical conditions underground. That information continues to be fed back to our geotechnical specialists, both Denver, Vancouver, but we also have the chief inspector having a geotechnical specialist here to support us. Also very important, there's a natural flow of air, ventilation through the area, which makes it's really a positive aspect for us because there's good air for the individuals. We also determined that the route to the refuge station behind the fall of the ground is stable. So as I said, we had the drone flying over it, and we could expect both areas. We have commenced efforts to safely remove the debris, utilizing a line of sight loading equipment or loader. So what it means is we don't have an operator on the machine. We've got an operator that stands quite a distance from there in a safe place and operate that machine as we move that. Want to make sure that, I emphasized it on the previous call as well, that our first priority is to establish communication with these individuals. And that continues to happen as we speak in those efforts. So we are deploying systems, because we had the cable that we've lost, we need to deploy specialized systems to see how we can get communication up. We're also actively assessing all methods and technologies available to conduct the response efforts successfully. I would say good efforts also from emergency response teams from our Brucejack mine, around here. And then to see other industry peers supporting us. New Gold's, New Afton mine has also arrived on site, and they are supporting the teams. The geotechnical specialists, as I say, they continue to monitor as we are cleaning the debris, assessing the situation, making sure that it stays stable. I think the important thing is here that we are working together to identify the plan for the safest access road for these individuals, and that's important. So our absolute priority is the safety and the well-being of the 3 individuals, but also these emergency response teams that are busy with the process. Important that we keep supporting them and make sure that they are safe in this effort. We've been in contact with the families of the workers and with our workforce, with the provincial officials who've been absolutely supportive in all these efforts. And I would like to thank them for that. I would also like to thank the Tahltan Nation and all our industry partners and peers that has been supportive for us throughout this difficult time. We will continue to provide you updates as we get new information and where it's logic to provide that, both in person, through the media, and directly also through our Newmont Canada Facebook page. And we endeavour to have an update also tomorrow morning. I want to close out by saying, we understand the difficulty, firstly, for the 3 individuals. They've been underground for an extensive period of time. Their family, the uncertainty what they have, but also the peers and everybody around that. And they are in our hearts. We think about them, and that's most important, and I expect and hope all of us have that at heart. So we are treating this with all the urgency that it deserves. But we need to make sure we do this safely in a way that we protect the lives of those 3 people, but also the people that is in this process. Thank you for that, and I think let's open for a few questions.
A question about the drones that you've got, so I describe it properly. Are these drones able to fly over the top of the rock fall?
That's correct. So I'm going to just get the wind here. If you sort of consider that the rock fall has got a form like this, we have been starting to, as we started to clean the debris, some of that has come down. So it created a space for us to get the drones over. So it means we actually can see on the other side exactly what had happened, but also inspect the area from the geotechnical perspective, and that has been stable. So that's how we do it.
And is that how you were able to tell that there was natural air?
Exactly. 100%, but not because of the drones, but because of the way that we measure the flow and measure but because we have seen that dropping, it increased and improved the ventilation flow.
And in terms of communication, would the drones deliver new cables? Is that the plan?
Just repeat your question. Will the drones?
Drones deliver new cables for communication, or how does that work?
No, the technology is called leaky feeder, and it actually works by having line of sight. So as we lower this debris, it gives us better opportunity to actually have line of sight. So the cable damage, that's something that we are working on. as soon as we have line of sight 700 meters down, we believe that we will be able to have an opportunity to get the connection.
The first fall happened. What safety measures went in place between first fall
Yep.
and second fall?
Thank you for that. What I just said is, the protocols for us when we have an incident or have an unsafe condition is for people to go to these places of safety, which is called refuge base. That was the first thing. So we removed people out of harm's way, out of risk, made contact with them in that refuge bay, asked them to stay put, and we will assess. Then the fall of ground happened. That's where we lost communication. So the second one. So that is protocol. That's how we do it within the industry.
Were any changes made at the other site, the main site, as a result of the fall on the underground site?
Yeah, as I said, operations has stopped, subsequent to that, and operations hasn't commenced. We are only carrying on with essential services at the operation.
When did operations stop?
Probably a few hours thereafter, and again, you need to understand that the underground operation and the surface operation, there's no relation. So it's got to have nothing to do with each other. So it stopped a few hours thereafter. I think the first priority was to assess, to understand what is happening. Management got into a room, understand and assess the situation, stopped the operation, and focused absolutely on the rescue.
Did the operation and blasting, appreciating that they're two separate things, and I was speaking to an expert at UBC and said that the chance that it would be linked is highly unlikely. But was there blasting happening between fall 1 and fall 2?
No. And this happened at 11, as we said, at 10:30 in the second fall. No blasting activities. There was hauling activities and loading activities, at quite a distance from there. So there's no relation between what happened underground and our surface operations.
Tell us about the morale and how positive you are about succeeding to get them out as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And firstly, this is well planned, well assessed. That is the first priority, and I think that's where the team is. We are certainly positive, and the morale is good within the management team, as well as the emergency response teams. But ultimately, we want to do this in a safe way, and that's most important. So I would say for sure the morale is right, and the morale is there. Everybody wants the people out. But more important, everybody understands that if we don't sort of plan and execute this safely, that will not be worth it. So that's where we are.
Mr. Protocol, once they run out of water or food or anything, there's other places to do this?
Correct. And again, want to sort of re-emphasize that these refuge bays are designed for extended time underground. So both ventilation, also food and water. But as I said, we have now established there is good ventilation flow through the mine. So I think that is less of a risk. From a food and water perspective, it's designed for 16 people in that. We've got 3 people. So they've got ample food. Should that continue and should the rescue process extend, we have every 750 meters underground, we've got one of these, and I think we've got 11 of those. So from that perspective, we believe that we're good, in a good spot.
Are family members of the people trapped on site?
No, family members are not on site, and I think also, just back to our partners, High Tech, they have communicated with the family. They are keeping the family up to date on progress and sort of give comfort to them. But no, they're not on site.
Is there any additional equipment that would need to come in when you look at actually physically moving the people out?
No, we've got all the equipment. We brought in a specialized drone, as we indicated, to make sure we've got the distance that we can travel. But we don't need more equipment on site. We've got the equipment to do the work that is at that.
What's the greatest challenge of this rescue?
I think one is being patient, because we all, as this conversation is, we wanna get there. And I think it's more important for us to make sure we do it in a safe way. So I think that is important. we need to clean the debris, and that takes time, and we need to get through that. I think that's the important one. So, and then just maybe lastly, the assessment to make sure that the conditions are stable. I think that's probably the most important piece of planning as how we go forward. So those are the key themes I think we are working on.
Is there any indication why this happened?
Look, I mean, ultimately, our priority now is getting those 3 people out. Thereafter, I can assure you Newmont will, as a company, we will do a significant investigation with the right specialist and the right people in there. We will be transparent in that, because I think important is we need to learn, but we need to make sure that industry learn from that. But I don't want to speculate on that now. Our priority as Newmont is to make sure we get these 3 people out. So part of our onboarding, as well as our induction, both our own employees as well as our contractor employees, get through the onboarding process where we talk and we teach them around emergency response. So that is important. So they understand exactly in a situation like that, exactly as they reacted, there is certain protocols to follow. Then throughout the year, we do drills to re-emphasize that. So we will do a drill to say, there is a situation on the ground, what do you do? So this is continuous effort to make sure that people are well trained. And I think the evidence is there that they, as soon as that first incident happened, they followed protocol, they moved to the second, to that chamber, and that's where they have been. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you. Yeah, tell me where.
Sorry?
Tell me where.